say 50% is love and 50% is fear, right? If love becomes 51%, that means there's actually more love in this universe than there is fear. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Goddesses channel, where I channel the Divine Feminine and bring it to you. Today we're going to be continuing the conversation on love and fear. This is the primary duality that we need to learn to orient ourselves within and understand whether the outside world or your inner self is operating out of love and fear. So last time I discussed connecting with your body and seeing how it feels, whether it's good or bad, and then perceiving entities in the outside world, whether it's people or organization, places, wherever it may be, seeing how your body feels and understanding whether that entity is operating out of love or fear. This time I want to start off with giving you a new skill, which is gauging your inner self for whether you're aligning with the vibration of fear or with the vibration of love. So one of the two ways is to connect with your emotions. Emotions belong to the higher realms of the abstract spectrum. The abstract spectrum is something I call the different dimensions of the world, going from the divine feminine, which is the unmanifest, all the way to the divine masculine, which is the manifest, aka everything that you see around you, as in being physical objects. So your emotions are higher up on this abstract scale, so I'm sure you know that emotions are much more abstract and harder to grasp than other things. But recently there's a concept called emotional intelligence that teaches us to connect with these emotions. And it got widely popular from the book with the same title, Emotional Intelligence. So in spirituality, the Hawking scale allows us to understand the emotions, whether they're higher or lower on this spectrum. So higher up are the emotions that align with love, and lower down are the ones that align with fear. Once we connect with how we're feeling, we can always move up and down the scale. So before awakening, we move about it without knowing where we are. But after awakening, as well as connecting with our emotional intelligence, we can move freely about it and even increase our love and our loving vibrations. One of the best ways is gratitude, and I did a video on that. You can definitely watch that. Another way to discern whether you're aligning with love or fear is to observe what you're attracting into your life. Are you attracting loving energies, people that want to take care of you, or people that are giving you support? Or are you attracting fearful energies, things such as toxic people or very difficult situations where you're feeling absolutely hopeless? These two actually tie together really well because our inner world is the mirror for our outer world. So it's very important to be able to orient yourself and not be a victim of your emotions, rather control them. And not control in a sense of like applying your fear on them. Control is usually associated with controlling or toxic things. But control as in freely being able to move into higher realms and understanding that what is more abstract and what is more unmanifest is where our peace and our joy lives. When we acquire the skill to move freely into the higher realms, we start attracting things that are better in our life. This is primarily done through self-love, and gratitude is basically a form of self-love. Gratitude is a form of self-love because you are acknowledging everything that you already have and being thankful for it and thanking God that what you already have is exactly what you always needed to grow and to attract more love into your life. So here I have a tweet from Overly Exclusive, and I want to read it to you. How do you find self-love? You dig, you isolate, you ache from being lonely. You heal, you accept, and you look in the mirror and see God. So I love the way this person said it, because finding self-love is the same as finding God. And that's when we connect to our God self within us. But there's a twist in the duality of love and fear. This is the fact that neither of them are negative or positive. Yes, it's true that love makes us feel very good and fear makes us feel very bad. But in the overall sphere of everything, they are both neutral and they have the meaning that we give them. So it's important that we don't identify with one or the other, because we can turn fear into love and we can also turn love into fear just by the meaning that we assign them. It's finding the love in every little thing that turns it into love. Have you ever noticed that in order to love someone deeper, you start to hate them a little bit? I don't know about you, but this does make you feel uncomfortable, but it's something that's natural and it shows you the dance of duality within everything. So when you can remove yourself from this duality, you can find God, because God is oneness, right? And within duality, there's one and two. When you remove yourself from the duality of love and fear, you actually connect more with your God self, aka some people call it the higher self. And this is because God is oneness and duality is two. This is best done by exercises such as meditation, in which you retract yourself and observe what's happening in reality. When you step back and observe your reality, you are actually better able to manipulate it. And like I said, manipulation and control is not something that we're doing out of fear. It can also be something that you do out of love. In meditation, you actually step back and you observe what's going on. Same thing as observing your emotions or observing what you're attracting. You remember earlier when I said observing your emotions and seeing what you attract is what allows you to discern whether you're operating from love or fear? That's the same concept. It actually seems kind of contradictory that observing something allows you to manipulate it better. But this is always something hard to grasp until you get to the point where you are observing, and instead of being tied into it and being a victim of it. So when you observe something from afar, you stop being a victim of it. And it's always realizing that we're not the victim of what's happening to us. We actually create it for ourselves. This is the concept that underlies the law of attraction, and love and fear is something that ties heavily into law of attraction, because when you are aligning with love greater, you attract loving things. Isn't that true? So behind this duality is actually something that is capital L, love. And I use that as a synonym for God. God does not have any opinions about what happens to you or to the world. It is primarily objective and just allows for things to happen. I know I'm saying these words from a perspective of God is outside, right? But if you can hear those words that I just said from God being inside you, God observing your reality is objective. And that is what we're trying to do with understanding love and fear. Once we get into the realm of duality, we can jump above it and see the oneness of it all. So the subjectivity is within the lower realm of the spectrum. Objectivity is observation. When you're objective about it, you actually start to see that this is all your power and you're creating this world for yourself. Don't be worried if this is something that scares you. Don't think about it, because it'll make you start having emotions of fear. For now, these are just concepts that I'm introducing to you, and we're going to work with them a lot more in the future. So the last concept that I want to introduce to you is that in the dance of duality, there's always a way that love comes out on top. This is something that Alan Watts also discussed in his book called The Book on the Taboo Against Knowing Who You Are. The play that fear and love always have in this world is just an illusion, and when we get caught up in it, we are still within the duality of both of them. When we separate ourselves from it, we can see that it's just play and it's just a game, and we don't have to partake in it, but it is our destiny to partake in it, so we can choose which side to be a part of. Usually what we come out with, even if we're not aware of this, but awakening allows us to become aware of it, is that love always has a slight edge over fear. And you can see this in the stories that we watch, in the movies that are presented, in books, or even in your real life circumstances when you look back at it. Things always turn out well, even if they haven't, but that means it's not the end of it. And knowing that love always comes out on top, we can see that this duality, say 50% is love and 50% is fear, right? If love becomes 51%, that means there's actually more love in this universe than there is fear. And behind the duality of love and fear is capital L, love. So I hope this will bring positivity to you, and I'm excited to present this complicated concept even more on my channel because I can truly talk about it endlessly. If you love my content, you know exactly what to do, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.